Welcome to my bewitching podcast, where I take you on a journey to initiate you into the mysteries and pleasures of all things magical and more. I'm Julie Nelson, Rich Witch, botanical perfumer, astrologer, and creator of the Fragrant Oracle. I'll discuss a myriad of topics passionately on women rising unapologetically, witchcraft, including spells, rituals, insightful astrology updates, and oracle card readings. I'll also introduce you to special guests who share their bountiful knowledge and experience in the art of witchcraft, the intuitive and healing arts, and being wildly unapologetic. In your divination practices, the centered goddess can help you to improve your basic psychic development, along with bringing mental clarity and awareness. When Clove comes to you, know that she is here to assist you in transitioning into your most empowered self through being aware of your thoughts, feelings, words, and actions. Be mindful of how you talk. Your words are your wand. What you speak, think, and feel, you create. I am witch. I am the alchemist. Upon calling me, I come forth to aid you in building your inner strength through self-love, to be your own best friend. When you embody your gifts as a magical woman, you will draw wealth into all areas of your beautiful life. Try these affirmations, which, by the way, are powerful tools for working your magic. When you combine them with inhaling my warm, spicy scent, you are activating your body, mind, and soul to take action. I am a powerful creator. I am an alchemist. I am a rich witch. I am a magical woman. I am abundant and joyful. Hello and welcome back, Rich Witch podcasters. This is your host, Julie Nelson, speaking, and I am beyond excited today because I have a gentleman from Glasgow who is going to speak to us. He's an author of a series called Witches of Scotland. And I have just started reading them, and honestly, I'm already hooked in because of a certain aspect of it. And I'm going to hand you over to Stephen. He can introduce himself, and we're just going to allow the conversation to flow. But I really want to talk about the Witches of Scotland book series. So over to you, Stephen. Did I say your name right, or did I? Sorry, I just realized. Did I say your name right, or did I go straight back into?
No, you didn't say Stephen Aitchison. You didn't say it, but it's fine. It's cool.
Okay, Stephen Aitchison. Thank you. My apologies. Over to you.
I was just to say thank you very much for having me on in this podcast. This is my first author interview, not my first interview, first author interview. So thank you very much for having me on your show. Really, really appreciate it. It's brilliant.
I'm excited. I'm grateful. Thank you.
So, what would you like me to kind of talk about?
Well, do you want to just give us a little bit of background about you first, and then we can move into, I would love to know your why and how the book series came to be. And being a witch and having an audience of witches,
Right. So the book series it's a fictional work, obviously. It's a fictional series. It's going to be 8 books. There's 7 books out, or the 7th book out is coming out on the 30th of November.
Wow.
And the 8th book should come out in hopefully February 2024. I'm just starting to write that just now, and that'll be the last book in the series. So it's fictional, and it really kind of came about. I've always wanted to be a writer. I remember back when my dad used to go to the library and kind of get all these books from the library when I was 11, 12, 13 years old. And he used to get books like Harold Robbins. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a kind of an old writer. Harold Robbins, Sidney Sheldon, and John le Carre, and kind of people like that. And I used to pick up the books and read them. Now, Harold Robbins was a bit racy at the time, but I used to really enjoy the stories in them as well. And Sidney Sheldon, there was a book called If Tomorrow Comes, or When Tomorrow Comes. And I read that a couple of times and just thought, oh, I'd love to be a writer. So I used to take all these books and write synopses for them. And I would type them up on an old typewriter. That's how long ago it was. We didn't have computers back then. So type these synopses up. And then I started writing short stories when I was 16, 17.
Oh, wow.
And they were absolutely rubbish. They were honestly rubbish.
But you had practice.
Yeah, it was just for practice. And I wrote to the magazines to put these short stories in and got rejection letters. And I thought, I'm not cut out to be a writer, but it was always in the back of my head. And then I moved through from Fife in Scotland to Glasgow and to be a nurse, a mental health nurse. And at the time as well, I discovered the internet was just kind of getting big, and I was one of the first ones to jump on it because I thought this is going to be massive. And I kind of joined online communities, and there was a writing community, and there was also one. I finished a book. I'd read a book by Stephen LaBerge called Lucid Dreaming, and I started practicing lucid dreaming, and it was amazing. It was just to kind of open my eyes to a whole new world. When I started practicing and really got into the habit of lucid dreaming, it's just amazing. And then I thought, oh, that would be a cool story if you could lucid dream, but when you're lucid dreaming, consciously being aware that you're dreaming, you could jump into other people's dreams and kind of direct other people from there. So that's where the inkling came from. That was back in 1994. So we're talking a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I tried to write the book. I wrote 60,000 words of a book, and I just thought, this is shite. It's just not good at all. So I thought, I scrapped it. I just chucked it out.
I hope you
2 years later,
it.
No, I didn't.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
I know, I didn't. I should have kept it, but I didn't because I just thought, there's no way I'm going to be a writer. It's just not going to work. So I tried it 2 years later with somebody else. I thought, if somebody else comes in, they're a better writer, we could collaborate. And again, it was just shocking. I wrote another 60,000 words. It didn't come about. So we chucked it. And then I thought, I'm still going to write this book. I don't know what it's going to be called. So I called it The Dream Dancers. I set up a website back in 2013. And I thought, right, I'm going to write this book. It's in my head. It has to get out. 2013. And then I started my own business online. I left my job as an alcohol and addiction worker. So I left that, went full-time online and kind of wrote and recorded guided meditations, and that kind of took off. And then I started a course on Facebook, how to grow your Facebook page, and that took off big time.
Whoa.
And then in 2017, I was into cryptocurrency. I started a course on that. That took off big time. And the book just kept get to the back shelf. It was just on the back shelf of my mind all the time. And then 2021, I thought, I'm going to write it. So I wrote the first book in the series, The Witches of Scotland. Oh no, it was called The Dream Dancers at the time.
Can I just say, I love that name, The Dream Dancers, because my witchy name is Moon Dancer. And when I first read that, and I love to dance, I thought, oh, I like this name.
Well, see, I rebranded it, Julie, because Dream Dancers, it sounds like a kind of Magic Mike type of boy dream dancer thing. I thought, that's not going to work. So 2021, I wrote the book. Cryptocurrency took off again, the business side, and I thought, oh shit. But then 2022, I thought, right, this is the year I'm going to become a full-time author, put everything to the side, focus on that. And I did, and I rebranded the book to The Witches of Scotland, The Dream Dancers, The Akashic Chronicles. And that was it. I've been writing ever since April 2022 and writing the books. And it's all about lucid dreaming and astral projection. But it's not all about that. It's just that's what the witches can do. That's what the dream dancers are. And that's it. That's the kind of the inkling of where it started right up to today. And the series is nearly finished at last, thank goodness.
Hasn't taken you long to do it, which is pretty amazing. And I guess, you know what, it was like the right time, I guess. And damn those publishers, you know, say, you know, because they even if something's good, people just get squashed by them. And I'm glad that you always kept it there and followed your intuition, and now you've almost completed it. That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, the publishers, I think the publishing world has changed massively. I self-publish these books, but the self-publishing has to be up to the same standards as the big house, the big publishing houses. It has to be up to that standard. And I always set out to do that from the very beginning. So I got professional editors, professional book cover designers, and a coach. I got a book coach as well at the start to do this. So I always wanted to be professional about it and self-publish. And I self-published a self-help book in 2020, and I got a publishing contract from Wiley. They offered me a contract. Yeah, so Wiley Books is a big kind of academic kind of publisher. So they offered me a contract, and I thought, this is ridiculous. The amount of stuff that I had to do, the length of time it was going to take, and I'd already written the book. It wasn't going to be published for 2 years. They were going to give me 10%. They'll give me an advance of, I think, £5,000. And what I had to do to make that up, I thought, I'm just going to self-publish. So that was my first foray into self-publishing and doing a self-help book in 2020. And that was another book that I had to get in my head called The Belief Principle. And it's one of my best, it's my best book. I love it. And it's going to help so many people, but I don't promote it. It's just there in the background for when the time is right to promote it. And then The Witches of Scotland is going to be the big thing. So I knew exactly what I was doing with self-publishing with The Witches of Scotland. And this is now my full-time career, and it's making a lot of money for me as well.
That is so exciting. I self-published an Oracle deck, and I'm struggling to sell it, but also because, I don't know, I just find that aspect of it online hard, even though I've been in business for a while. So yeah, well done you. Well done you. I actually want to get the hardcover of yours, but I just wanted to get in and start reading it, just to get an inkling.
I'll send a copy of the hardcover over to you. I'll send a signed copy if you want. I'll send
I would love that. That's awesome. Thank you. I cannot wait.
But can I just say as well, I see the writing part of it, Julie, and it's the same with your deck as well. The kind of creation of it is probably the fun part. It's a brilliant part. It's great coming together, the creative side of it. The marketing side of kind of self-publishing, anything, or the Oracle deck or whatever, is about 70% of what is going to make you a success or not. If you learn the marketing side, and once I learned the marketing side, because I have to say, I'll just give you some figures here. I was earning about last year, at the end of last year, I was earning about £1,000 per month, with the books, and I'd done the audio book as well. Got somebody to record the first audio book, and then when I learned the marketing, that's when I became full time. I'm now £5,000 a month or something with that, because of the marketing, and it's Facebook marketing, Instagram marketing, and once you learn it, you just go, holy shit, I wish I'd learned this years ago. Yeah,
this is where I'm at. I know that's what I need to do, because that's where I fall down. But that's another topic maybe we can talk about. But thank you for sharing that. I may talk to you about that privately if you don't mind.
No problem.
So with with your books, and I've written down the bleep principle as well, because I'll look that up. That's available. Yeah.
The belief and the belief principle, yeah, that's all
Oh, the
about changing
belief.
your beliefs. Belief principle, yeah. And how anybody can change their beliefs, and people don't really realize that they can change their beliefs because they don't really know
Oh,
what their beliefs are. So yeah, once you
absolutely.
change your beliefs, you change your whole life. Literally change your whole life.
Absolutely. And I work with that too, Stephen. So that's a big part of my work,
Yeah.
retraining the brain and how we think, what we say,
Yeah.
like, our thoughts, feelings, and words are our wand. So I'm really big on that as well. But that's
Yeah.
exciting. So, do you have a witch in you?
Um, if I was going to practice any religion, it would be Buddhism or Wiccan. I'd be a Wiccan
Yes.
probably if I was going to do that, but I don't. I don't. But I've always been extremely interested
Yes.
in it, and I've kind of dabbled in it as well. I mean, back when I was a student nurse years ago, and this is off topic, but I was a tarot card reader on the phone lines. And
Oh,
that's what I did for about
perfect.
6 months as well. And I thought I thought I was quite good at it. Because people phone you for repeat kind of consultations and stuff
Yes.
like that, and that's how
Yes.
you make your money online.
Yes.
Over the phone, so it wasn't online at the time; it was over the phone because people would ask for you, and so I made a lot of money from that as well. So I've always been interested in that side of it.
Yep.
Definitely, it's always been something's been there, but I've never
Uh,
fully
definitely. Well,
immerse myself in it.
just the fact that you've written or almost completed 8 books called The Witches of Scotland and then
Yeah.
tarot reading. Absolutely. It's a part of it. And there was something you said, but I didn't write it down. I can't think. Let's keep talking. It might come back. So with like I've got your background in that, but how has the experience been like honestly with because oh that's what I was going to say. Like for me being a witch, I've been a witch all my life, but especially the last 30 years I've been very full on and I'm quite eclectic, but I do follow more the pagan um, way, which stemmed from Wicca. And I know that Wicca is considered to be a religion, whereas I consider it, for me personally, to be a lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's like Buddhism. In some countries, Buddhism is classified as a religion, and in others, they classify it as a lifestyle. So,
Yeah. I wouldn't
yeah,
classify it myself. I know it's classified officially. Wiccan and kind of Buddhism is officially it's classified as a religion, but it's not. There's no dogma attached. There's nothing attached to it. So, and that's what I liked about it as well, because you do. It's just what the Wiccans say: do unto others as you would do to yourself and stuff like that.
yes,
So it's just a way of life. It's a way of thinking, more than anything.
it
But what I
is.
always loved about kind of the Wiccan side of it and witchcraft and paganism was the fact that you used, they've got all these ceremonial kind of magic that a lot of them
Yes,
use. But when I was writing the book, The Witches of Scotland, I realised, not that I realised, but I've always kind of realised that those are just tools to produce the magic that you need to put out into the universe. And that's what I've done with Witches of Scotland. It's all about the energy, and the energy is produced from the tools from paganism and Wiccan as well, from the tools that they use. That's where the magic comes from. But you don't really need that. It just helps you focus your
it's
mind.
absolutely. And that's what I say, because we have the magic within us. Whatever we do,
Yeah, exactly.
it's about realizing that, acknowledging that. I've got a little formula that I'll share with you in a minute. And the tools help us, as you said, to focus. They bring a bit more I was going to say fun, but that's not really the right word, because I honor my tools. You can't see, but behind me, I've got my wand and my athame, and that's one of my little altars. And I don't worship anything. It is more that, like, I respect these tools, and they're an extension of us, because the
Yeah,
magic is in us, and they can help to enhance, and they're a prop, they're a tool that we can use. We don't need them, but I
yeah,
like to use them. myself, but not all of the time. And
Yeah. I think it's extremely useful as well, like you say, Joe. I think it'd be extremely useful. Not that I've kind of practiced it myself, but it's just when I've done, I love to research everything. And when I've kind of researched all this in the past, and because I've been interested and I bought all the books on it and stuff like that as well, I realised that it's all about energy. It's your magical energy. And I realised that's what I put in the books as well. It's about energy signatures. We move up and down the scale of energy kind of signatures almost. So when you're with somebody who's really kind of low, they're low kind of energy, they kind of drag you with it because they're sucking your energy from you.
absolutely.
But yeah, when you kind of move up the kind of energies as well, the frequencies, the energy frequencies, that's when you start to realize, Jesus, magic is actually real. It is real.
Yeah.
I believe in the kind of universe and kind of sending out thoughts to the universe. Your thoughts have a frequency and stuff like that. I know it sounds kind of woo-woo, but I genuinely 100% believe it, and that's what the book's about.
Yeah,
And the
well,
books are about that.
I know people use that term woo woo a lot. I'm not inclined to. I don't know. That's just me though. But it is magic. And so the thing is that for over a century, scientists have been talking about energy.
Yeah.
And now they can measure it in the air. Like I learned a lot of this when I studied aromatherapy. And I actually wrote a course on the college that I lectured at on the esoteric side of aromatherapy and essential oils. And what was discovered is that they can measure it. And, you know, we can feel it. We can sense it. It's like when you walk into a room and you said like a person and that might be empty, but it feels weird. There's stagnant energy there, so you can move it. And it's like, people, like for me, I've come to a point in my life, like if I don't like somebody's energy, I don't engage. I'll be polite, but it's
Exactly.
like your energy is not going to enter my field. It's like, and so I have very clear boundaries about that because I'm a person that I feel things and I feel other people's feelings. So it took me a long time to understand that and learn to be discerning, and also know which was mine and which was somebody else's. And it was really, really quite big. And so energy becomes matter, and matter is a manifestation.
Yep.
And my little formula I was talking about, I talk about it all the time. So my listeners might have heard me say this. Excuse me. So, you know, to keep our frequency high or our vibration high, for me, I really believe, and I know I get a lot of eyeball rolls when I say this, but self-love. And that comes from, because love is the highest vibration, the highest frequency.
Yeah.
When we acknowledge that and we accept that we have inner healing to do, then we can step into that place of self-love, which then helps us to build our confidence and become more worthy of what we desire and know that we're worthy of what we want, which becomes an magnetic or attractive energy that people want to, you know, go to, and then we can manifest. So that's how I kind of, it's a way that people can understand. And I'm also a strong believer in, like, not everything is love and light. You know, I've had this, I used to believe once it was, but we are made up of different aspects, and our shadow, which especially for women back in the dark ages, you know, we were accused of witches or demons, or like you only have to look at Lilith, the goddess Lilith, whom I love and work with her all the time. And she's in our astrology blueprints. And she's known as our shadow aspect. But to help people understand, our shadow aspect is our power, our self-power, our empowerment. And so when we can honor that, you know, we can bring all aspects of ourself together to rise unapologetically, to stand in our truth and be who we were born to be. I went off on a tangent then, but that's okay.
It's fine. It's fascinating to listen to.
I wanna talk more about your books because
But that kind of leads on as well, just what we were talking about there as well, Julie. That the books, it's talking about the energy, and it's talking about the kind of the person within you coming out and to be who you truly are. And once you find that, that's when your energy kind of soars. But what is kind of dragging our energy down? And that's what the books are about. It's not as kind of conspiracy theories in there as well, but a lot of conspiracy theories are not theories, it is true. And a lot of it is the media. That's what drags it. If you watch the news every day, you read the newspapers, you listen to it on the radio, your energy is never going to get to a frequency where you can be so positive that you love your life. It's never going to be that because it drags you down. That's what the media is doing. And this is what the books are about as well. It's just to say, listen, open your eyes a wee bit. This is what's happening. The big pharmaceutical companies in the world, food industry in the world, the media is all, and the governments is all designed to keep your energy low. And so you're performing at their level that they want you to go at. If we all kind of ascended our energy frequencies, there would be no governments, there would be no kind of food industry, there'd be no big pharma companies, because we wouldn't need the big pharmaceutical companies, because we don't need it. Our bodies are healers.
We're on the same page, Stephen.
Yeah.
We're on, I've been in natural therapies for 30 years as a professional with aromatherapy, and I work with botanical perfumery for the psychological and emotional well-being. And and I'm an astrologer of 27 years as well. So I bring all of this together, and I absolutely agree with you. I believe that there is a place for pharmaceuticals because my daughter was born with a life-threatening condition. Not actually, I'm going to retract that. Not so much pharmaceuticals is modern medicine, as in surgical procedures.
Yeah.
And there are
some
things that are needed. So what we want is to bring everything together to create that holistic treatment. And I absolutely agree. Like banks, governments, pharmaceuticals, media, they are toxic. They are lethal. I have not watched TV for around 20 years. I've never read a newspaper except for when once, I might be looking for a job when I was much, much younger in my teens, or looking for a place to live. And my father always used to tell me off and say, Julie, you need to know what's going on in the world. And my answer was,
the argument.
No, I don't. I find out from other people and you. I don't need to read them. And I've always been a rebel with things like that. It's just like I question the status quo. So I love that your books have a powerful message. So tell us more, because so many people, all the, with COVID, I'll be careful what I say, but it's just like people were conditioned into fear. And it actually made me really sad. I just felt the brokenness of people and the destruction that it's created. And I think until people wake up and stand in their own people, because I believe the power is in the people. They've just got to realize it and own it, as you were saying. And I was in a conversation with a panel of women the other day, and we were talking about living in peace and that, and they asked, if we could share one thing, and I said, look, John Lennon's song Imagine has lived in my heart and soul since it was created. Imagine living in a world of peace, imagine. And that's what I really put out there and hope. And even with me right now, I'm a bit of an activist because we've got so much homelessness happening with women my age and above because they may not be employable. The rents, I know it's global, the rents have got skyrocketed. They can't afford to feed themselves, so they're living in cars, they're living in tents, and it's just like, fuck, this is not acceptable. And what are our governments doing about it? Well, I don't see much. I'm not seeing any proof because it's getting worse. It hasn't even come to a plateau. So again, I went on another rant, but yeah, so I'm a bit of an activist when it comes to this, and I want to work with women to help them step in their power, because what I've said to people, and I'll just share this with you because I've been living in this little place because I left my longtime partner and I've been renting ever since. And I thought I'd be flying high on my broomstick when I got my freedom, and it's been such a hard ride. And back to renting after owning a place. And anyway, I'm living and renting this place. I've never experienced anything like it. And it's brand new little tiny cottage, and the owner does not like doing anything, even if it's structural. She says, no, you can pay for it. And the last time I went, fuck you. So what I did was I went on to Google and wrote a review about the real estate and all the points. And, people saying, oh my God, Julie, you're really courageous, because I could get evicted from it, or they'll make an excuse. But I thought, you know what? I am willing to face the consequences because I am not going to allow them to bully me.
Yeah.
And I want to encourage other people. So I don't mind telling the story because we have the power. We do. So back onto your books. That's what this is for. But it's all kind of all.
But I was going to say it's all kind of related anyway. It's all about in the books as well. We've got a whole different range of ages in it. You've got David Hunter and Jessica Campbell, the main protagonists in the book, and they're 21, just turning 22. But then you've got Aunt Jane, who is 60 years old. And then you've got Jonathan as well, 60 years old. And they've got a group of people, and they're almost like kind of witchy detectives. Trying to find out what's going on with the government, and they're spying on the government in kind of London and stuff like that in America. So they're kind of doing that with astral projection. But Aunt Jane, before this, she didn't know kind of her own power, and she thought, I'm old, I'm kind of passing out, but she's rediscovered herself because she's doing all these things for her nephew David, and she's rediscovered herself and said, I finally found who I am, this is what I love doing. So the theme of the books or the series is about everybody has a place in the world. We all have our own power. Everybody has a place in the world, and we all have something to contribute to the world. No matter what our ages are, if we're 1, if we're 100, it doesn't matter. We all have something to contribute, and it's about finding what we want to do in life. And this is where I think life has kind of dragged us down as well, because we fall into a job, we fall into relationships, we fall into kind of debt. We fall into it. It's not designed, but once we wake up,
that's what we're supposed to do.
Exactly. Well, that's what I believe. I'm not saying that's true. I 100% believe it.
So do I.
Then you say what you were saying earlier on. The governments have totally screwed things up. Total 100%. Trillions and trillions of pounds in debt, in dollars in debt, and you go, what do we do to get out of this? Although we know the governments have screwed up, the big pharmaceutical companies have screwed up, the food industry especially has screwed us up health-wise. And you just go, what do we do about it? And then that's when you realise, well, we'll have to take control of ourselves first. We cannot help the world, and we can't go on marches and be activists we can, but we'll have to help ourselves first. And
Absolutely.
Then we say, this is the way forward. We have to kind of ascend that. And the only way out of it, I see, which is a difficult part, is making it our own money and become almost an island and teach others how to become islands. And then all the islands kind of come together without the government control. But that's a kind of an idealistic kind of point of view. I just see that as the only way out.
It could be possible, because I really believe that our school, I don't know what it's like for you over there, but our curriculum needs to be completely blown up and rebuilt. And, more practical things, because school is so controlling.
Yeah. You okay?
And I'll pass over to you.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's been designed that way. Our minds are not being taught to open in schools. It's been taught to think in a certain way And that's it. We're not talking about finances. The biggest thing that we should be learning in school, in primary schools and secondary schools and higher education schools, is finances. How do we take control of our own finances? How do you even get a mortgage? How do you kind of invest wisely? We're not taught that because it's a form of controlling. Again, I believe that, and people are waking up to that fact as well. And all these things that are happening in the world just now, this wokeism that's going on in the world, Jesus Christ, man. This wokeism is designed, as part of the design, to distract our attention away from what's really happening, what the governments are doing, and that's screwing us up. The wars, distraction away. What do wars do? Normally, they kind of bring people together, and because you've got a unified enemy. And this is what's happening in Ukraine. This is what's happening in Israel, Palestine, although it's kind of dividing people. So all these things are distraction from what's really going on in the world today. And that's, again, what the books are about. Although it's not predominantly about that, you wouldn't read that and say, yep, this is what the books are about. It's still about the Witches of Scotland. It's a good fictional book. So that's kind of what the books are about as well.
I love it. And sorry, I had to turn my video off because my net is unstable. If I do drop out, we'll just come back on. Okay. But let's keep going. And I actually love it. I am with you 1,000%. I agree. I hear you. And it's so refreshing to actually hear somebody else speak my mind. And we're doing it here where we have the potential to reach a lot of people, which is powerful. And we want people to wake up and tap into their own witch or their magic or their power or whatever they want to call it, own their selves and rise unapologetically, which is, a big thing for me. So it's quite interesting because a lot of the things you've mentioned, I'm going, yep. And I don't do that. Like, I am such a bloody rebel that I never really thought about it until much later in life, but I've always been like that. And I'm just getting stronger and stronger. Like, I've just turned 65 and it's like, oh my God, this is powerful to be here because, I don't give a fuck about what people think that I do, as long as for me, I'm doing the good. I'm doing good for Mother Earth, for people, for creatures, even for the sky. I mean, that's another thing. But what we're doing to the bloody sky right now, we're going to lose the vision of the stars in the sky. And it's not that too far in the future because of all of the satellites that are going up. And they say we lose about 10% of vision of the stars every year. And I love gazing at the stars. And that was really heartbreaking for me when I found out about that, because I went to a lecture where this astronomer was speaking, and it was like, no, because ever since I was a little girl, I loved to gaze into the stars and the moon. And I felt like I could always reach out and grab them. So we're pretty destructive 100%. And we need to change.
And I think it's a big message about kind of empowering yourself as well. That's a huge message. And again, this kind of age thing as well, predominantly, or in the past, it's been like, when you get to a certain age, this is what's meant to happen. When you get to 50, you're meant to, or when you get to 60, and when you get to 70, these things happen. And really after kind of 70, you go downhill. That's predominantly what we've been taught in the past. It does not have to be like that. Because of the foods we eat, we are getting sick and sicker and sicker every single year. And we don't have to be. At 70 years old, we could be literally what we're like at 40 and 50 years old, at 80 years old and 90 years old. And it depends on what you eat. I'm not going to go into kind of that side of it, but there's a way of eating when you can just be like that. And you don't need all these kind of health problems that you've got at certain ages. You just don't need it. And the pharmaceutical industry just kind of plays on that as well. It's ridiculous, unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a healthy eater. I lived off the grid for 8.5 years and grew our own vegetables and fruit and lived on solar, a very minimal solar too, might I add, but it was a beautiful life. I've got a big garden that I've started here because I just cannot stand, not even the fresh food. It's not bloody fresh, it's crap. And I know we
Yeah.
should be grateful for it, but it's not acceptable. And I have a personal mantra because I love to dance as well. And I have this mantra where I go, I'm going to be a centurion plus dancing on the street because that's what I want. And I want to hang around and spend a long time with my daughter because she is just an amazing person who has survived. You know, like I was told she was going to die several times. And it's just like, I brought in everything I could. I fought with the systems. I fought with the hospitals. I fought with the schools. Because of the indoctrination. And I just, like, I was like a fierce warrior woman, and it did make me sick because I stopped looking after myself. But then I've been on this healing journey for me, and it's taking care of ourselves. Some of us will be activists. I'm an activist, but I'm not, like a radical. We have different roles. So finding your purpose, what works for you.
Yep.
But first, as you said, we have to come back to ourselves and stand in our own power. Yeah.
I think once you find your own purpose in life, your energy kind of soars. It really does so. And then you decide, okay, and I think this it all comes back to, and I've learned this, I've been blogging, I've been a blogger, a personal development blogger since 2006. And I've got one of the biggest personal development blogs in the UK, or had. It's kind of gone downhill now because I've been focused on other things. But the biggest things that I've learned over those kind of 20 years that I've been kind of writing about personal development is finding your purpose. And then once you've found your purpose, sharing your purpose with others and sharing what you've learned. And once you do that and you share with others what you've learned, you could say, okay, I've discovered this about our energy system. It'll be your own little kind of niche that you're kind of teaching others, and everybody learns a little bit from everybody else. So once you've found your purpose, you teach others how to find their purpose, or you teach others what you've discovered. And once we do that and come together like that, I think that's what life is all about. I think a lot of people are down in the world, depressed, and they just don't see they've lost.
They've lost hope.
Because they don't have a purpose.
Yeah.
And that should be the biggest thing we should do, is try and find a purpose. But it's difficult in these times. It's really difficult in these times.
So therefore, to me, again, it comes back to the inner healing, look within.
Exactly.
And communities have been lost. The disconnection is freaking, I mean, I can spread my arms out like I am, but it's way beyond that. And I remember when it was so much. So it's like finding your community, the people that you feel good with, but also people that are going to uplift and have that, like, create the vision together, create the dream. Don't be afraid to dream big, because then you're putting that energy out into the world as well. We can do this. And like you said, it's about teaching other people. And my goodness, we don't have to wait till we're, in our second part of life, or it could be our first part of life,
Exactly.
Start as young as possible. Ask questions, get curious, learn about yourself, question the status quo, learn to trust your intuition. I mean, all of these things should be brought into schools and to education, and being creative. I mean, I love creativity, and that has helped me. It's like meditation for me. Dancing is like meditation for me. And my work, and I know I'm on purpose, and it's so fabulous. And sometimes I think, God, why did it take me so long? However, I'm here, and I do not for 1 minute, like many people, like, for example, a woman, they're known as the maiden mother crone. Well, we're not. Like, we have 4 phases now, and probably in 20 years, we're going to have 5 phases because we're living longer. And
exactly,
yeah. And so I claim being an omega stage, and that is where a woman is rediscovering herself, everything about herself. And it is so exciting and so empowering. And I just think, get out of that old box. And, break down those walls and don't be afraid. And that's what community comes into as well, because we've really been communities. It's like they've dropped a bomb on them.
Yeah. Yeah. And every kind of community and every kind of area in kind of life, like even women, you can't call yourself a woman anymore. And you're going, holy shit, what the fuck's going on with the world? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
And I'm going to share something about that. And I have no shame and I'm unapologetic. Like, I had a friend who had a non-binary or doesn't identify as a he or she or they or they. Whatever you want to do, go right ahead and do it. But this woman said to my friend, I'm offended that you call yourself a woman. You know what, Stephen, I'll say this openly. If somebody says that to me, I will tell them to fuck off. Because I am a woman. I'm proud of being a woman. And it's the natural law of nature. So this again, for me, and the energy and the money that is being put into it, I don't dislike somebody because of it. But for me, again, it's an indoctrination. Exactly. They're brainwashing people. And
it's another distraction.
Yeah. And the other thing too is, be buggered if I can accept that a 12-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 13-year-old knows what they are. Our brains aren't even mature enough. So I feel a lot of it with the younger ones can be a fad. I'm just giving my own opinion. I'm not saying this is how it is. I'm just speaking my truth, and if nobody likes it.
But I think the thing is as well, women have fought for over 100 years for the right to be women and to get the votes and get everything else, and for the right for equal pay and everything else. And now that's been eradicated because of this. And you're going, this is not right. And it's manufactured, it's engineered by certain groups, and it's blown up around the world. It's blown up. And we have to ask ourselves the question, why has this question blown up when it's not even a question? It really isn't a question. Why is it blown up? We're all distracted with that. Everybody is talking about it. Newspapers, kind of news programs, we're all distracted. You've got to ask yourself, why everywhere. Is this question? And it's blown up for a reason. It's a distraction. It's another distraction to take away from what's really happening in the world. And we're falling for
agree.
It.
Because it is definitely focused on women.
Yeah.
Absolutely focused on women. And at school, what they're doing in schools, again, I don't know what it's like here, but I've listened to and read articles that some teachers have written, and teachers leaving because they simply refuse to teach or speak about what they're being asked to speak about. And thank you, yay to them for standing in their power and doing that, because and you know what? Most of them that I know, and I don't know many, but they're all women, interestingly enough. So, great conversation.
I think we're getting off topic again, but it's all kind of related as well.
It is. And so just a little bit more about your books, and perhaps we can come on again and talk in a little bit more depth about your books once I've read more. But is there anything like, I don't know, like I said, last night I started reading, and I'm actually a slow reader, especially on the computer, but I was just hooked in by the name and the teleporting and what are they, the dancing, what's the term? Dancing
Dream dancers.
Dream dancers. I just, like, that hooked me in, and I thought, oh, I really like this. Like, there's just certain things, because I'm not a huge book reader, because I love fantasy and all kinds of things like that, but I tend to do a lot of research, so I don't get the time to read as much as what I want. But these I'm definitely going for. Is there anything that you would like to share more about the books themselves, like the different titles, or share anything to intrigue us more?
Yeah, well, I think the books, they've all got the same title, which is Scotland. It's book 1 to book 8, so it's the same title for a reason. So people could remember it. They don't have to remember the names of the actual books themselves. So I think that was a good, from a marketing point of view. I think that's why I've done that as well. But as I said, the books are kind of about a wide spectrum of the kind of population: young, old, wealthy, poor. Well, not so much poor. There's not kind of poor in it. We just know there are kind of poor people in the kind of world just now. And as I said, it's about rediscovering yourself. It's about, I wanted to do a kind of thriller-esque type of kind of series as well. Do you know, I don't know if you've heard of the Scottish writer Ian Rankin. So he writes kind of Scottish fiction as crime fiction, but he always bases his kind of books in Edinburgh. And it's good reading those books because you go, oh, I've been there, I've been to the castle, I've been to see this in Edinburgh, and you know kind of in your mind where you are. And that's what I've done with these books as well. So you can walk around Glasgow, you could kind of read the books, go on to Google Maps and see where I'm talking about: Downside Road, where Aunt Jen stays, Botanic Gardens in Glasgow in the West End. And that's where the inspiration came from, the West End of Glasgow as well, because when I was doing the nursing, I used to study in the Botanic Gardens, which is the West End. And the West End of Glasgow, like the West End of Edinburgh and Aberdeen and Dundee and all the other cities in Scotland, is the affluent areas. But when I went there, there was literally an energy about the whole place, about the whole of the West End, going, why does this have a different energy about it? And it always fascinated me. So that was another inspiration for the book, that the energy of a place that you stay in, and it happened to be the West End of Glasgow for me. And I thought, in 1994, I looked up at the properties when I was in the Botanic Garden studying. I looked at the properties surrounding. I thought, I would love to stay here. And this would be amazing to stay here, but it was just way too pricey. There's no way I could afford it. And in 2019, me and my wife moved to the West End, which was brilliant, and we've stayed there kind of ever since. So it's just amazing kind of how things kind of work out as well. And
well, you manifested
that. Say again?
You manifested that.
I've been practicing that for 20 years. 20 years and 100% believe in it. And it does work. I know it doesn't. It does. And nobody will tell me any different. I've been doing it for 20 years. I am where I am because of it as well. So it does 100% work. And I'm on a different energy level from when I was 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. It's totally different. And that's what the book's about. It's just to open your mind a wee bit without kind of being too preachy. I hope it doesn't come across as being too preachy. So it's just about saying, you've got to question things. And like, we all have to question, because the quality of your life is dependent on the quality of your questions in life. If you've got shitty questions, then you're not going to have a good quality of life. But if you've got great questions and you've got an open mind and you say, why is this happening? Why are they doing this? Can I do it a different way? And when you ask questions like that all the time, answers will come to your subconscious mind. And you just go, oh, right. It's amazing. Yeah. So it is really amazing kind of how it works. And you just go, oh, life is just, it's just fascinating to find out more.
I so agree. And sometimes when I feel a little bit stuck, I talk to my higher self or whatever. I believe it's my higher self. And it's like, what are my next steps? What do I need to do now? And the answers always come when sometimes when you least expect it. I find, like, when I'm driving my car or in the shower, like, we can't write notes, but it's just like, okay. Or we naturally do it and then reflect and go, oh my gosh, that's what I needed to do. So absolutely. I mean, here's another example of manifesting. I've got 5, I call them unicorns. They're mini horses. And I've had 2 of them for 21 years. And I have, I bred the other 3. Now, in the last 12 years since I left my partner, I've had to move 9 times, Stephen, and I'm bloody over it. And I've taken my horses, and I haven't lived in the same areas. What I did was I moved around, and there's only a couple of areas that I will live in New South Wales because they're the only places that I like the energy of. So I totally get what you're saying about that as well. I can't just live anywhere because it's convenient or, it's better for this or better for that. If I don't feel it, I ain't gonna be there.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
the way it is, because I know that I'm going to thrive if I'm
Yeah.
in an environment that is aligned, or I'm aligned, it's aligned to me.
Yeah.
And you know, when we had our 40-acre property up in the Hunter, that was so magical. That was my dream place. And literally, you know, talk about energy, and people that came up and spent time with us could see it when they were there, but you could literally hear the grass grow, the trees whisper. I could see energy in the air because we were surrounded by bush. And you know, we had a creek, and it was beautiful and undulating. And where I am now in the mountains, even though I'm on a little bit of a busy road, I've got national park like less than
Yeah.
5-minute walk for me, so I can tap into it. And it's so important to be in alignment with all of that, because these days so many people are very, very disconnected.
Yeah.
Technology is amazing. I love it and it has a place, but some people,
Yeah, you've broken up there, Julie.
they don't know how to connect it to other people. Sorry, thank you. My internet just showed me. Yeah, it's just
That's okay.
they're disconnected. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think that 100% right, but there's got to be a kind of marriage of being
mm,
connected and still living in this world. And this is where I think I've found a good balance where I'm still making money. And that's really important as well. It's okay to be creative and you just go, I've found myself and I'm finally doing what I'm doing. But if you're not making any money and you've got a family, you just go, that's just not right. You shouldn't be doing that.
yeah,
You
we
should
have
have
to
to
have
kind of
money in this
have the
world.
marriage of the two.
Yeah,
You say again?
sorry, spoke over you. We have to have money in this modern world.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
can't be
And
without it.
if you can find a way to do that creatively, then that's brilliant. But there's no point in saying to yourself, I found this kind of magical kind of space in my mind. It's just so, and I'm so happy and stuff. And you're not making any money, and you've got a family to feed, and you've got all that, and just go, that's just not good at all. But if you can marry the two together and find
Yes.
it, then you've got a brilliant, perfect balance. So you with your oracle cards, if you're making money from that, and you can,
Yes.
because everybody can make money from anybody can make anything for money from a bad product. It's just how you market it. You don't want to make a bad product, obviously, but if you've got a good product and the way you market it can make you a lot of money as well. But it has to be a good product. But you can still
Absolutely.
make money from bad products. We've all seen it. So it's
Yep.
about finding out that as well, being creative and just saying, oh, I love this process. I bloody love it. But then you have to say, okay, the practical side, I need to make money. I need to learn marketing. And everybody can learn marketing in one day, literally one day.
Yep.
And it's amazing once you find out, you go, I was sitting on this earlier.
Yes, yes, I agree with you. Absolutely. It is. It's about bringing in everything, every element.
Yeah.
And as you said, marrying it together. So powerful. Okay, well, we've been going for almost an hour. That went really, really quickly. Perhaps when I've read more of the books and we can talk a little bit more about that, would you be open to
Yeah,
checking
definitely.
in with?
Definitely. I think we've gone off a kind of tangent, but it's all been related and kind of to, to the books as well.
I kept
So
trying
it's
to
been a
bring
good
back.
conversation. It's been a good
It
conversation.
has been, it has been, and I think that it's very good for people to hear what we said. And as you said, it is related to your books and how
Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
written. Yeah, but I would love to give people. I'm very good at going off path. I would love to give people more information about your books, so perhaps we could do that soon. Maybe I'll read this one. I'm going to commit to reading it every night so that I get through it, and then we can jump back on and talk more
Do you
about it.
listen on audio as well?
I love listening to audio.
I'll send you the audiobook link. I'll send over a copy. Oh no, you're in Australia. They don't give me one for Australia. It's only
Yeah,
in
that's
the UK
okay.
for some reason. Sorry about that.
Oh, who knows? Who knows why? That's all right. I'm happy to read it. And well, thank you so much. And what
Thank
we'll
you.
do, It's been great. But what we'll do is put your details, how people can contact you or how they can buy the books, and in the show notes. And then if they have any questions, if you're open to that, but especially to purchase the books, because my feeling is, even though I've only just tapped into them, that they're going to be good. And especially after our conversation here tonight, that's given me and our listeners a lot of insight. And we are so on path. And a lot of my community, I would say 95% of my community are in this. So we need to ripple it out into everybody else.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. But it's been a pleasure talking to you. And it has gone, because I just looked at the time there, I'm going, oh shit, that's been an hour.
Yeah,
so it's gone really quick.
Really fast. So thank you so much, Stephen. I really appreciate it. And thank you, listeners. And as I said, Stephen's details and the book, to buy the books, will be in the show notes. And I'm really excited about that, even more so after having a chat with you. So that's us for now. And I will be back with another podcast in a couple of weeks. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the enchanting journey through the realms of magic, mystique, and self-discovery. I hope you enjoyed our time together on the Rich Witch podcast, where we delve into the depths of witchcraft, astrology, and the unapologetic rise of women. Please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. And as we wrap up, I encourage you to carry the wisdom and magic we've shared into your own life. Embrace the power within you and revel in the beauty of your own unique journey. Stay tuned for more magic, and in the meantime, stay curious and know your magic is a gift to the world. Blessed be, beautiful ones, and remember, the magic is always within you. This is Julie Nelson, signing off.